Welcome back. It's time for Media in Check here on Weekly Review on TBS EFM. I'm your host, Rob Awahand, and today we have Angela Jung joining us in the studio to tell us the latest updates and compelling news related to the media. Hello, Angela. How are you?
Hello, Rob. I mean, it's been a, long week.
It has.
Dark, gloomy week, but it's almost over, so I'm glad we're here.
Mm-hmm. It's been, well, actually, I have to admit, I love the sound of rain. Mm-hmm. So that late summer rain, I put on some sandals and I get out my big umbrella and I go out in the rain and I let the rain hit my umbrella and I'm a happy guy.
Uh-huh. Oh, you were happy, so
yeah.
Even with the extreme rain this week?
Well, okay. My heart goes out to anybody whose life has been affected by the flooding, for sure. And some of that news, last year, my family in Canada was part of that big flood that made world news last year. Fortunately, none of them were harmed during that either. But I have to admit that when it's not, your life might be in danger rain, I do really like to, the sound of the rain, the way that the streets kind of shine with when they're wet. I like that kind of stuff.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so, I certainly hope, now I feel bad. I certainly hope that the flooding hasn't affected anybody who you care about.
Oh, yes. I think everyone that I care about is fine. But yes, it was a pretty big damage to the whole country, especially in Seoul, surprisingly. But yeah, I hope everyone recovers from it fast. Yeah, for sure. And anybody whose life has been affected by it, my heart goes out to you. And anybody who hasn't been affected, maybe find a way to lend a pair of helping hands. But that is not actually the topic that we are talking about today. What is our topic for today? Yes, so the influence of K-Webtoon is growing, and beyond visualizing the existing Webtoon IP, recently secondary creations of popular dramas and animations into Webtoons and web novels are being actively attempted. It's interpreted as meaning that the ripple effect of the Webtoon platform is getting stronger and bigger.
Okay, now I know that like popular webtoons are sometimes produced as K-dramas.
Right.
But now the vice versa, the opposite is happening as well.
That's right. So one of such examples is ENA drama Extraordinary Attorney Woo Young-woo has recently started being officially serialized as a Naver webtoon.
Yeah. Now we already talked about this show a couple of weeks ago, and I can't believe that this show the English idiom would be it has legs.
Yes.
It keeps going, and where I thought its popularity would start slowing down, instead it's growing.
I know, all over the world now, right?
And across different platforms as well. So that's kind of amazing to me. Even on TikTok, some of the soundtrack has become a new TikTok trend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's wild. So are there any other shows from Webtoons? Let's talk a little more about this show Webtoon Back and Forth.
Yes, so if you look at the trend over the past few years, the production of dramas and movies based on webtoons has been the mainstay of the content industry. In fact, the popular dramas All of Us Are Dead, Business Proposal, and Yumi's Cells that aired this year were all based on the webtoon of the same title.
Yeah, and some of the really wild, weird but fun shows that I've seen have been based on Korean webtoons. I love that stuff. I love, the monsters down the stairs. I love that stuff. So those shows are just right down my alley. But at this point, it's not a surprise anymore to see a show that's based on a webtoon. I think as transferring one medium to another, I think webtoon to TV is a really easy, smooth transfer. It's much easier than adapting a novel into a TV series or something.
Yes. So, popular dramas have been reproduced as webtoons, and the webtoonization of video content is being actively carried out. So, Naver Webtoon released the drama Good Doctor and Discovery of Love this year. Last year, to commemorate the first broadcast of the drama, Hong Cheong-gi, Senior Don't Put That Lipstick On, and Happiness were released as webtoons. In the case of Our Beloved Summer, which ended in January of of this year, a drama and a webtoon were interestingly simultaneously planned and produced.
Simultaneously. Now, I wonder about that. Like, did you have to read the webtoon to understand what's going on in the show? Were they like basically the exact same content?
I guess there were the storylines already lined up, and then the webtoon and the drama were at the same time. They were being produced and filmed, you know.
Okay, because I always wonder about that. I'm a big fan of the superhero stories, right? And these days, those superhero movies that company is also making superhero TV shows. But sometimes you have to watch the TV show to understand what's going on in the movie. And I don't like that. I think that the movie should stand on its own.
Yes.
You know, and
have its own story.
Yeah, and the TV show should stand on its own. And you shouldn't need to watch, this set of movies before you can understand what's going on in this TV series.
Right. That would be a little confusing.
Yeah, that's my personal opinion. The way that media goes back and forth is always interesting. But the webtoon market, it's huge.
And it is huge.
My mind kind of boggled at the numbers when I saw them, actually. What is the market like these days in size?
Yeah, so it's a little tricky, but I mean, according to the Korea Creative Content Agency, if webtoons are converted back into mobile content values and they calculate that way, the global webtoon market is worth about 100 trillion won.
And so that would be like $100 billion.
That's right, yes.
And that's Hollywood level numbers.
So, I mean, in addition, the global MAU, which stands for monthly active users of Naver Webtoon itself, a domestic webtoon platform, it reached 82 million. Yeah. So it is huge, right?
Yeah.
As the consumption power and ripple effect of webtoons around the world increase, it seems that the webtoonization of video content is naturally formatted.
Now, if the market's that big, I mean, this is a huge the Korean idiom is a blue ocean, kind of an area of growth and opportunity. So I'm sure other industries must be looking for a way to jump into this blue ocean to grab this opportunity.
Yes, so I guess this part is a good news for you because not only videos but also content such as songs, comic books, and games are being reborn as webtoons regardless of domain. So in January, the Hive Entertainment collaborated with Naver Webtoon to release webtoons and web novels based on original stories. In particular, the original story Seven Fates Chako, in collaboration with BTS, was serviced worldwide in 10 languages and surpassed 15 million cumulative views of webtoons within 2 days of its release.
And what kind of games can we expect to be released as webtoons in the near future?
Yeah, so DC Comics and Marvel Comics also released their IP as a webtoon. So starting with Marvel Comics Black Widow last year, Naver Webtoon exclusively released webtoons such as Shang-Chi, The Eternals, and DC Comics Batman and Vixen. And Kakao Entertainment's plans to release Thor and Doctor Strange this year. So game company Krafton also collaborated with YLab, which is a webtoon producer, to release a webtoon based on the PUBG universe, the worldwide of the popular game PUBG Battleground in November last year. And the webtoons released by Krafton are 100, Night of Silence, and Retreat, which are serialized as Korea as well as abroad.
Yeah, now, okay, maybe I'm revealing my age here, but I remember in the 1980s, okay, the Michael Keaton Batman movie was really popular, and there was a novelization of the movie on store shelves, but it was very clearly a cash grab. It was just, you liked Batman? Well, here, you buy it in another form. It was just a cash grab.
Yes.
I was obsessed, so I bought it and I read it, and it brought nothing new. You go back a little farther, and Star Wars, had this big comic and novel universe that fans would read between releases of the movies.
Yes.
But these days, it seems like media is getting more connected, and this stuff, like, it doesn't feel like a cash grab anymore. It feels like, okay, we're taking, okay, movies aren't your thing. That's all right. We've got a webtoon for you, and it's good too.
Yes, as long as it's a good story, there always going to be the demand, I think.
Yeah. And I think it feels like they're giving a lot more kind of artistic attention and quality to them, so that, when you see a TV show made from a webtoon, or when you see a comic book made from a TV series, instead of just going, oh, they're trying to grab the money from the fans. Instead, it's like, okay, well, let's see what they've got.
Yes.
It's interesting rather than just feeling a little cynical these days.
And the fact that, like lots of stories and lots of ideas with very, interesting topics and characters, I think that's a really great news as well.
Yeah, and there's always something that you can find in one medium that's hard to get across in another medium. So there's always some interesting wrinkle. Anybody who read the book and then saw the movie knows that there's always something a little different that you can get in a visual medium or a word-based medium.
Yes,
and so
I agree.
It's an interesting trend to watch out for, and we'll see where it goes and which great webtoon will become the next hugely popular TV series, or the other way around.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing this issue to our attention, Angela, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. That's everything for Media in Check.